Let's talk about something TAP never covered, and that's scams. Scam 101. This isn't your typical, cyber awareness. This is real scams. That's going to happen, and you're going to run across it. And here's what we're going to talk about. Veterans are being targeted by scammers at a rate that should make everybody in this room angry. Not surprised, freaking angry, because the FTC just reported that US fraud losses hit a record 15.9 billion in 2025. Military families alone lost $584 million in 2024. That's up 25% from the year before. And these numbers only count what gets reported. The FTC estimates fewer than 10% of fraud victims ever file a report. So I think the real numbers are much higher. What we're going to cover today is every major tactic being used right now in 2026 with verified data, real examples, and specific steps that stop each one. Because guys, these scams are becoming very complex. And if you think that you're, up to date on the cyber awareness 2026, think again. They're getting very, very smart with this. So it's not general fraud awareness. This is about how the military community is being targeted, why it's working, and what to do about it. Let's start with why veterans are specifically in the crosshairs. This is not random. Scammers study the military community the way a military intelligence officer would study an adversary, right? They know the income streams, they know the timelines, they know the psychological profile. The first thing, right? Guaranteed income, VA disability, retirement pay, GI Bill, BAH, TSP. These are all documented, predictable. These are government-backed income streams, and scammers don't have to guess what a veteran has or when they get paid. That information is effectively public through benefit program data. The second thing, data brokers, your military status, separation date, and benefit eligibility are bought and sold commercially. This is not speculation. It's how the industry works. A scammer can literally purchase a list of veterans separated in the last 24 months by name, location, and benefit type. Think about it. When you separate, what do banks do? They send you something in the mail and it says, you are no longer active duty. We know that. We're going to cut off your, yearly thing that you have to purchase with the credit card. That's an example. Third, cultural trust. The military, we build a culture of trusting authority figures, and we act on orders from the chain of command. But scammers, they can impersonate VA officials, recruiters, military officers, and it works because of just how we're trained to respond to authority. Fourth, the transition window. The FTC confirms that the 12 to 24 months post separations are the highest risk period. You're job hunting, navigating, the benefits for the first time, potentially dealing with financial uncertainty, all simultaneously. Scammers, they know the calendar. They time their attacks to this window. And one stat worth holding on to is that veterans face twice the fraud attempts of civilians. That ratio is not coincidence. It is the result of deliberate targeting. And I want to get into the specific tactics, starting with one that is growing the fastest. All right. Fake recruiter scams are the common attack vector against transitioning veterans right now, and they are growing fast. FTC data, job scam reports are up 60% year over year as of Q3 2025. Losses jumped from $90 million in 2020 to $501 million in 2024. LinkedIn removed 80.6 million fake accounts in the second half of 2024 alone. So here's how the scam runs. You get a DM on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, text message, whatever. You're a perfect fit for this role. I'd love to connect. Then they send you a job briefing that looks super official. You've got the company logo, the salary details, the duties, and they schedule a virtual interview. Then they'll ask for your social security number or your driver's license or your bank account for direct deposit setup before you've even had a real conversation about the job. Or they tell you to pay for equipment up front that they will reimburse. But guess what? The check will bounce. The equipment will never arrive. In March 2025, the Washington Post documented a widespread scam specifically targeting federal job seekers. Fake listings falsely representing the Blinded Veterans Association, offering $45 an hour and a training bonus, requiring banking details before any interview. One thing that you can know is that the email is probably not going to come from a corporate domain. If the recruiter for, Lockheed Martin or a federal contractor is emailing you from a at gmail.com, that's not Lockheed. And that's a scammer, and that they're targeting those people. Verify every job offer on the company's official careers page before engaging. Never provide personal information before a verified job offer. And search the company name plus, like for example, scam before you do anything else. Now let's talk about two scams that hit a little bit closer to home, directly targeting your VA benefits. VA impersonation scams are running rampant right now in 2026. The VA issued a formal fraud alert in November 2025 specifically about a new scam: fake overpayment notifications. And here's how it works: you get a text, email, phone call, looks like it's from the VA. It has an official VA letterhead. It has the VA logo. The phone number on your caller ID will show as a VA number because they spoof it, right? The message tells you that you've been overpaid on your benefits and you owe money back. Pay immediately or you lose your benefits. They demand payment by gift card, wire transfer, crypto, or prepaid debit card. And if you've ever heard of a legitimate agency collecting a debt via gift card, I want to hear about that, because that request alone is literally confirmation it's a scam. The VA will never, and I mean never, ask for your social security number, banking details, or VA credentials over a phone call or email. Like if you receive any communication about a VA debt, go directly to va.gov, log in yourself to verify, or you can call the number, not the one that the caller gave you. The second scam on this slide is the predatory resume mill. Let that sink in. These target transitioning veterans specifically. Here's the pitch: we specialize in military to civilian translation, guaranteed interview callbacks, clearance ready templates. We charge $300 to $500 up front, no refund, no recourse. Here's how you tell: legitimate professional resume services have named writers, verifiable reviews, and a real business address. If you cannot find the person who supposedly wrote your resume on LinkedIn, they don't exist. And for what it's worth, Best Military Resume's first two resumes are completely free. No trial, no credit card. There's no catch, really, because no veteran should ever have to pay to compete in the job market, in my opinion. Now, one that's genuinely new and honestly alarming: pension poaching has been around for years, but the VA OIG issued a formal fraud alert on it as recently as June 2025 because it's accelerating. Here's how it goes: a financial advisor or attorney or benefits consultant reaches out, often, at a senior center, right? A VA facility, or they'll cold call you because they promise to help older veterans restructure their finances to qualify for VA pension benefits that they could not access before. And what they're actually doing is manipulating assets in a way that may violate VA eligibility rules, charging substantial fees, and in some cases, just straight out stealing the money. January 2025, there was a guy, his name was Joseph Beach. He was sentenced to 41 months in federal prison for stealing $253,000 from his own veteran's father's disability, retirement, and Social Security benefits. His own son. Like, that's the emotional reality of what pension poaching looks like up close. And the iron rule: say this out loud so it sticks. Legitimate VA pension assistance is free, always. If anybody charges you to file a disability claim or access your pension, they're breaking a federal law. On the PACT Act fraud, VA benefits now total $135 billion annually, and the PACT Act expanded coverage for burn pit and toxic exposure significantly. So scammers have moved in immediately, and they'll pose as VA-approved consultants with no designation that exists. They'll promise to fast track your PACT Act rating, collect your social security, medical history, and then just disappear. Now, the one most veterans have never heard of, and it's the fastest growing of 2026. This one's different. Pay close attention. Fortune magazine reported in December 2025 that AI voice cloning has officially crossed what researchers call the indistinguishable threshold. That means human listeners can no longer reliably tell a clone voice from the real thing. This isn't even casually, not even trained professionals. It takes 3 seconds of audio. That's it. 3 seconds of your voice from TikTok video or YouTube video, like my voice. My voice is probably cloned. Here's what this means for veterans. The military creates some of the tightest bonds human beings can form. A call that sounds exactly like your battle buddy in distress, your spouse in a car accident, because that's happened, your kid in trouble, that hits differently than a call from a stranger. And this is the emotional hijack that they use because they use immediate urgency. The instinct to help kicks in before, the analytical brain data catches up. In July 2025, a Florida mother named Sharon Brightwell received a call from her daughter crying, saying she'd been in a car accident, lost her pregnancy, and was facing criminal charges. She sent $15,000 in cash to the courier. When she called her real daughter, she learned the voice she'd heard had been an AI clone. The FBI issued a formal alert in 2025 about an AI voice phishing campaign targeting senior US officials using clone voices to steal credentials. This has surged 442% in 2025. And here's the only defense that we can do reliably right now. Establish a code word with your family and close contacts right now. One word that you can only use in a real emergency. If someone calls claiming to be them and can't say the code word, hang up. Call back on a number already saved in your phone. Never use a number the incoming caller gives you. 3 more to cover quickly. GI Bill and education fraud. Predatory schools use the guarantee of GI Bill money to enroll veterans with an inflated job placement numbers and credentials civilian employees don't recognize. You've got VA loan and housing scams, unsolicited offers to refinance your VA loan with hidden fees or bait and switch rates. You've got fake rental listings targeting veterans during PCS moves where you wire a security deposit, you show up, property doesn't exist, only to work with VA approved lenders. You can verify that at benefits.va.gov/home loans. Another one, QR phishing. This one's pretty new. The VA flagged QR codes as an emerging attack vector in 2024 fraud awareness bulletin. Scammers will place them in emails, social media, flyers, parking meters. You scan it, you're directed to a fake va.gov login or prompted to pay for fake service. Never scan a QR code from somebody that you either don't trust or an unsolicited message. All right, here's what to actually do about all of it. Never give your social security number before a formal job offer. No legitimate employer needs it during the application or interview process. And if someone asks for it before a job offer, it's a scam. End the conversation. 2, freeze your credit card at all 3 bureaus, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion. It's free to freeze. Free to lift when you apply for something, and it makes identity theft exponentially harder. So this one action will eliminate a massive category of fraud exposure. 3, verify email domains independently. Real corporate recruiters email from company domains at Gmail, at Yahoo, at Outlook from a supposed corporate recruiter. That's an immediate red flag. Go on the company's actual website and look up the recruiting team yourself. 4, never pay to get a job. Training fees, equipment deposits, background checks, those should never be charged to you. None of these are legitimate. 5, set a family code word today. Right now, before you go home tonight, one word agreed by you and your immediate family and close contacts, used only to confirm real identity in an emergency. This is your only real reliable defense right now against AI voice cloning. 6, hang up and call back on a number you already have. Never trust a callback number provided by an incoming caller. VA, IRS, your bank, your commanding officer, if they've called you out of the blue, hang up and dial the official number yourself. And if you do get hit, here is where to report it. Everything you saw in this presentation is sourced to be verified government and investigative reporting. Every statistic has a citation on this thread. None of it's speculation. So if you're targeted, here's where to go. You can report it to the FTC for VA stuff. There's the information right there. But the most important thing about reporting is this. Most veterans don't do it because of embarrassment. The stigma of getting scammed feels like a tactic failure, and it's not. These are professional criminal operations using cutting edge technology specifically engineered to defeat you. Literally. I want you to share this presentation, right? Share the video. Every veteran who sees this information is one less target. And this is not a marketing line. This is literally the outcome. And if you are in the transition period right now and you need help with your resume, federal applications or LinkedIn, Best Military Resume is free to start. There's no trial, no catch. bestmilitaryresume.com. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and have a wonderful day. Peace.